On this episode of Game Shack, I'm going to show you guys how to add a real pinball apron to your virtual pinball build, plus 4 other great ways to soup up your rig, all for under $100. So stick around. Hey everybody, welcome on back into the Game Shack. I am your host, JDV for Evil Genius Entertainment. Thank you for stopping by. As always, you guys are the primary sponsors of this channel, so please give me a thumbs up if you dig this kind of content. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when other videos like this drop. So as any long-term viewer of the channel knows, I love pinball, and I really love virtual pinball because it's a way to get pinball into the hands of the masses. Even if you're very wealthy and have a lot of space, you still will never own all the pinball games ever made. And that is where virtual pinball really does make a great contribution to the world of pinball. I'm always looking for a way to make my rig look better or feel more like a real pinball game. So what I'm going to show you guys today is some things that you can do all for under $100 that will help make your pinball game feel a lot more real. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that none of the pinball aprons that I saw for real pinball games are going to fit on the Alp or the 4KP. They're just a little too wide. Now, maybe there are some aprons for the home versions of Stern games like Transformers, Spider-Man. I'm thinking about that era of pins, or the Star Wars Jurassic Park. They have home versions for that. Maybe those aprons will fit, but I think what I'm going to have to do for my 4KP is kind of make one out of foam core. If I do, I'll do a separate video on that. Let me know if you guys want me to do something like that. But otherwise, everything I show will work for the 4KP/Alp or any other kind of homemade pinball rig that you have, just because it's basically sound activated, so it's not a big deal. Well, let me show you the what I have here for the pinball apron. It's surprisingly thick steel. Now, I ordered this from Marco's Pinball. I've had great success with them in terms of how fast they ship it out. It is the item that they describe, etc., etc. They don't sponsor their channel, anything like that. I bought everything you see on this video with my own hard-earned cash. Now, one thing about this one was $34 and is still $34 if you go over there. Now, you can see that it was originally purple. It also had about another 2 inches of length on some of these edges, which I didn't want. So I went ahead and took a metal grinder and I just cut those pieces off, and then I sanded them down. Spray painted the whole thing to a little bit more Star Warsian type color. Of course, you can make this color scheme any way you want. I would suggest that you use good paint for this. You can see here I get great success with that brand of paint. Also, this thing was a little too narrow. One of the things about Marco's is it doesn't tell you exactly how big or wide the thing is, at least not in these pinball aprons, and you also only get to see how wide anything is by going to the cart, which is weird. So if you're looking for a product description in terms of how big it is, you're going to have to put it in your cart and look at it. That is one negative about Marco's. Other than that, it's everything positive, but you can see it turned out really, really well. These stickers are from Upkick Pinball. You can see that, I'll cut to that. And these are really, really nice laminated cards. They're on vacation right now, but I think they're still shipping out these cards. But if you want some of their other products, you're gonna have to wait till September. I'm actually gonna order some of the triangle things that they have there. I didn't realize they had them until I actually made this video. But anyway, now adding a real world pinball apron is really cool because it does a few things. One, because you're standing the closest to the monitor is going to be this section. Having this real 3D thing there helps the illusion even more. I don't know how much of this is going to pick up on video, but in real life, it really does add a significant amount of depth to the game. It's really shocking how much more real it feels. In fact, when I had my pinball glass off and I was kind of, putting this thing in, and I had, I think, Alien Star running in the background, there were a couple of times when I was doing pretty good and I'm like, oh, I'll just grab the ball and put it into the hole. I mean, I was almost onto the playfield before I realized, oh wait, there is no ball because it's a video game. That's how much this helps the illusion on some of those games. It will work on VFX. Now this gag is going to work really well on VPX, future pinball games that you can really scale in the table to, but it also works pretty good for the Zen / Steam pinball games. It works for Pinball M, works for FX3, FX. Now some of the games like Circus Voltaire have kind of a funky attitude on the game. It just never quite looks right anyway because they're trying to show you all of those 3D elements. Again, anytime you have a virtual pinball game that does not have so much vertical stuff, but it's more like a 1 or 2 story game, as I call it, it's going to help those games more. But overall, the effect really is shockingly effective. It really does make you feel like you are playing a real pinball game, because every pinball game has an apron, right? And every pinball game, this apron is above the playfield. So when you're putting it above the playfield, you are doing exactly what a real world pinball game would do, right? I mean, here's the playfield, here's the apron, and let's play some pinball. So it is very effective in that. It's effective because it's closer to you, and it does help you line up your pinball game with the aspect ratio and everything like that. So this is a very highly recommended thing to do. It may mess up a few games, like Spider-Man has a little flashing thing there on some versions. It's not going to be perfect for everything, but for like 95% of your pinball tables, this is going to be a really cool addition. One other thing, you can get these pinball aprons in plastic. The steel that these things are made of is shockingly, it's like tank metal. I don't know why they make them out of such stout metal. But if you're not comfortable using a grinder, if you're worried about that, they do make plastic versions of these. Don't have any experience with those, so I don't know how easy it was going to be to shave those down to size if you needed to. I knew I could grind down metal, so that's kind of why I went with metal. Anyway, this was on sale for 34 bucks. Most of these things go for 99 though, so this was still available if you're willing to shave a little off and spray paint. This is the one I'd recommend, but they have a whole bunch of others, so just look around. Maybe if you have a wide body V-pin, look at the wide body aprons. So, you know, just kind of look around, see what you think is going to work best for you, but I do highly advise you put this in. Now, the other things I'm going to suggest are adding like these LED lights that react to sound. I actually got the idea for this from Digital Victory, another great pinball channel if you want to check his out. They just work really, really well, and they last about maybe an hour, hour and a half if they're fully charged. The only real negative about these, as far as I can see, is that you really can't leave them plugged in and keep working. I don't think they want you to do that. What I'm looking for is a version that is long, like 2 of them together, and one that you can keep constantly plugged in. I haven't found one yet. If you guys know of something like that, let me know down below. These really do offer some pretty cool effects. They can have one color flashing, multicolors flashing from the sides. They do all kind of different tricks. They're very easy to use. They're very robust, very tough. I throw these things around, put a little Velcro on there so I can put them on my machine. You can put them almost anywhere. You can put them on your apron, you put them back on your back box, whatever. A lot of flexibility, and 15 bucks. Can't beat that. They look really good. Again, I got the idea from Digital Victory, so thanks to you, brother. Another cool sound activated thing that you can put on here is a strobe light. And what's cool about this is, again, it will react to the rumblings of your pinball game if you have like a bass thumper or something like that in there. And of course, it will react just to the volume of your game. And what I do is I put the strobe flashing sequence up as high as it will go, and then I put the sensitivity down to maybe 1/3 or to 1/4. So that way it's not always kicking off, but it'll only kick off, like say when you hit multi-ball or go into wizard mode or something like that. Well, that's exactly when a strobe light would actually go off in a real pinball game. And so when you put this in combination with these LED strip bars going, and you can see I have a little hexagonal, like little 70s 3D light thing going on. When all of that's happening, it really does start to feel like a real pinball game, especially when you're looking down and seeing that real apron. And depending on how good of a build you have or how nice your rig looks, you really do start to get the approximation of an actual real pinball game. So again, I just set this thing right on the back box, set that to the highest level, and I set this to about 1/4, maybe 1/3, something like that. Anyway, you know, you can tune it into however you want. I mean, you can see it's kind of going off on its own. And the cool thing about all of these things is you don't need to go into DOF. You don't need to go in there and program anything. You don't need to get into the more complicated things like that you can get from Cleveland Software Design. You can do all of these things without any kind of programming at all. You can put the pinball apron in, which helps everything kind of dial in terms of your size. You can put these LED bars in, other cool little lighting effects, a strobe light. All of it is going to add to the impact and believability of your pinball games, and it really does help take your virtual pinball game to that next level. Best thing is, all of this can be done for less than $100. So again, I'm gonna try to find a pinball apron that actually fits on the 4KP/ALP. I don't think they make them that narrow. I'm not 100% sure yet though. If they don't, I am seriously thinking about trying to come up with maybe something I could even, you know, send out to you guys if I can get the design down cheap enough, because it really does help. It is a really, really cool effect, and something that you can really personalize your game too. So you can put the stickers that you want, the cards, the directions to your pinball game if you need that. It's a really cool thing to do. So anyway, hopefully all that gives you guys some ideas. If you guys have any ideas for how to soup up a virtual pinball game, please let us know down below. Again, I'm looking for a better version of this that I can leave plugged in, you know, 24/7, that I don't have to recharge. So if you guys know about that, let us know down below. Anyway, give me a thumbs up on the way out the door. If you really want to help, you can buy me a coffee. See the information down below for that. Love each other, and until next time, I'll see you guys in the Game Shack. Mwah! Toodles!
Be sure to visit evilgeniusentertainment.com for exclusive content, swag, casting call news,